This video is about crime. True crimes that actually happened. It's about violence and real victims. You can find more detailed information in the description.
When Anatoly Onoprienko died in Zhytomyr prison on August 27, 2013 at the age of 54, he had already been in prison for a good 17 years. In spring of 1996, he was arrested after the investigative authorities found him after a long hunt. The public is demanding the death penalty, even though it has already been abolished. Anatoly Onoprienko is a small man of inconspicuous build with thinning hair. But Anatoly Onoprienko is also the worst serial killer in his country's history. He is proven to have committed 52 murders. 52 lives he wiped out in just a few years. But the story of the murderer Onoprienko begins earlier. 1989. Even earlier, the story of violence takes its beginning in the house of the Onoprienko family. Anatoly Onoprienko grows up in a family with an older brother. His father is a decorated veteran of World War II. But Anatoly's childhood did not last long. It is not clear when exactly it happened. Sometime between Anatoly's 4th and 11th year his mother dies. Rumors are going around. Her father murdered her. That cannot be proven. But what the father actually does, he gives up on Anatoly, puts him in charge of an orphanage. He keeps his brother with him. Anatoly Onoprienko is uprooted. His youth is largely unremarkable or hidden in the mists of the past. As a young man, Anatoly Onoprienko joined the Merchant Marine and traveled the world, among other things, on the cruise ship Maxim Gorky. After the end of his naval service, he travels aimlessly through Europe in search of asylum. He resides in Germany, Greece, and Spain. However, he is not granted asylum. It begins almost accidentally, the killing. The murders of Onoprienko, which make up an unprecedented series of unimagined proportions. It's a failed burglary that Onoprienko undertakes with an accomplice. The men climb into the building they thought of as empty and are surprised by the presence of a family. 10 people die, 2 adults and 8 children, killed by Onoprienko and his accomplice. The accomplice breaks off contact with Onoprienko. But Anatoly Onoprienko doesn't stop killing. Also in 1989 5 people die while sleeping in a car because Onoprienko wants to steal the vehicle. He didn't want people dead. He said. Onoprienko apparently kills indiscriminately. Cold-blooded. He kills men, women, children. Onoprienko shoots his victims, stabs them or hits them with a hammer. He usually abuses the females. Onoprienko brings death to strangers' houses, destroys entire families. A motive is not recognizable at first glance. There is no apparent reason. No advance warning. His actions are mostly the same. He breaks into the houses of families, shoots the father, stabs the women, then the children. He doesn't want to leave any witnesses, no traces. Therefore, he usually sets fire to the victims' houses. Later he will say that killing the children was an act of mercy so that they would not have to grow up as orphans. After killing, Onoprienko robs his victims. He takes valuables, but also things that seem more like memorabilia. Photos. Personal items. Stuffed animals that belong to the children. Onoprienko always takes his time with the selection of his trophies. A deep-seated hatred of intact families is suspected as the motive for his actions. Envy. Resentment. Onoprienko hates others who have what was denied him. And he hates his teacher. He himself once said that he had an assignment to fulfill. Acted as Lord of the Worlds. According to his own statements, he was once possessed by the devil and demons. Then he acted on behalf of heaven or alternatively on behalf of Adolf Hitler. His deeds seem devilish anyway. In 1996 in particular, the last year of his killing spree, Onoprienko's violent actions seem to escalate. He breaks into the Pilot family's house at night. The family of 5, 2 adults and 3 children, are asleep. They have no idea about the uninvited guest. Onoprienko proceeds as he usually does. He kills the entire family and sets the house on fire. As he leaves the scene of the crime at dawn, he encounters 2 people. Wrong time, wrong place. A 27-year-old person on the way to work and a 56-year-old neighbor pay for it with their lives. Onoprienko leaves no witnesses alive. Early January 1996, Onoprienko changes his pattern of crime, starts stopping cars on the street at night. He kills the inmates with his sawed-off shotgun, robbing the victims. In February he breaks into the Dubchak's house, shoots father and son. He kills the mother with a hammer. Onoprienko wants to force the daughter to give him money, to tell him where the family keeps their valuables. When the daughter refuses, he kills her too. We remember that Onoprienko later said, "Killing the children is an act of mercy." Which doesn't stop him from killing the Bodnarchuk family's 7- and 8-year-old daughters with an axe. On March 22, 1996, Anatoly Onoprienko committed his last crimes. He broke into the house of the Novosad family and shot all 4 family members, 2 adults and 2 children. Then he sets the house on fire. His typical approach. The pressure on the investigating authorities is growing. They catch a man they think is suspicious. What's more, the investigators believe that's him. This is the man responsible for all the atrocities. His name, Yuri Mazzola. A car mechanic. Violence polarizes. Emotionalizes. Especially violence against children. The officers are certain that Yuri is the perpetrator. Has to be. They break rules, break laws. An interrogation gets out of hand and becomes something else, torture. Mazzola does not confess. Nothing at all. Because he has nothing to confess. The investigators got the wrong guy. Yuri Mazzola paid the price for this mistake with his life. He dies under torture. Years later, several investigators are held accountable and sentenced to prison terms. Onoprienko cannot be tracked down. At least not yet. He is also difficult to catch because he is constantly on the move. He moves in with a distant relative for a short time. The man, Pyotr Onoprienko, discovers Anatoly's weapons. He realizes these are frighteningly similar to those used in the crimes everyone is talking about. The weapons of the Beast of Ukraine, as the previously unknown serial killer who murders entire families is called. The Terminator's weapons, another name given to this culprit. Pyotr throws Anatoly out of the house and informs the police. Anatoly threatens him and his family, saying he will come back and kill everyone. A good week later, Anatoly Onoprienko, who has meanwhile stayed with his girlfriend, is arrested. It is impossible to name all of Onoprienko's deeds and all of his victims. Also due to the fact that it is not certain that there were not more unsolved murders, whether in his homeland or in other European countries. Austria, Spain, Germany. It would be possible. Onoprienko himself once claimed that he had murdered 50 other people. His plan was to kill 365 people. A life for every day of the year. Onoprienko brags about his actions even to the prosecutor and the police. He looks proud as he is led to some of the scenes of his crimes. One wants to reconstruct his deeds. Onoprienko has to be protected from the angry crowd. Rather reluctantly, but the law requires it. The director of the Zhytomyr prison will once say that Onoprienko will receive his just punishment one way or the other. Whatever that means. Law enforcement officers who are questioned say with a smile that they almost wish Onoprienko would try to escape. Onoprienko avoids the other inmates in prison. He knows he has a target glued to his back in the eyes of the other inmates. Child killer. Nobody wants anything to do with that. Even the country's president, Kuchma, advocates making an exception to the suspension of the death penalty. But that doesn't happen. Onoprienko is sentenced to death, but the sentence is not carried out. Onoprienko does not flee either. He's been in prison for almost 2 decades. On August 27, 2013, the life of his country's worst serial killer came to an end. He is 54 years old when he dies. Of a heart attack.
If you like this video, please consider to leave a thumbs up or a comment. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified when there is new true crime content waiting for you.